Hi, my rays of light, and welcome back to my channel. This is Psychic Medium Raymond Guzman, and today I'm going to be doing a psychic reading on Gia Carangi, and she is Italian descent, as far as I know. She was a supermodel in the 1980s, if I'm not mistaken. These are facts that I'm giving to in a backstory to those of you that may not know. She was considered by many as the first supermodel of that time to also die of AIDS. And so this was a reading that has been requested for quite some time, and I haven't been able to get to it. So it's very interesting, and I apologize first and foremost to those that have requested it. It is a very interesting story, and I'm already picking up on a lot of things as I'm tuning into her beautiful soul. The first thing that I get from her is abuse, and a lot of people that are listening to this and know some of the story, what's publicized in the media was that, she suffered from drug addictions, and she prostituted herself when her modeling career went downhill and she couldn't land jobs. She worked other jobs, and prostitution was one of them. But I don't want to talk about that right now. I want to talk about what is coming through from her soul, what I'm getting from spirit, and my spirit guides. So the first thing that I get from her was that she lived a very painful life. And in this life, one of her greatest lessons was to master the karmic lesson of self-love. And that was something that she didn't really do. Yes, she saw her beauty. Yes, she was beautiful, and she knew how to use her assets to get what she wanted and to, make it work for her, for the camera, for, her career as a model. But I also get there was a lot of pain that she held on to because she didn't feel pretty on the inside. This is deep rooted. Also going from her childhood, I also feel like there was some kind of abuse that either she experienced, was it sexually, it could have been, was it mentally, verbally. There was a lot of her, what I'm getting from her soul and what I'm hearing is that she's saying that she was the type of rebellious type of model, and even growing up as a rebellious kid, I don't feel like she was the type to kind of, fit the mold to everything. And I also feel like there was a lot of powerful men around her that showered her with gifts early on in her career and kind of got her hooked on these drugs, on these substances. Eventually she got hooked on cocaine and then heroin. But I'm getting a lot of powerful men that also took advantage of her, and to a certain point she let them because there was gifts, there was money, there was connections, and so became a very easy, fast life for her to get the fix. She's saying the fix that she needed. But there was also a lot of abuse by these men, and I think this is something that was kept hush hush. There were some threats that would have been given to her or towards her to keep her kind of out of the spotlight. I also feel like they wanted to obligate her to be like a sexual toy in some kind of way, which is very sick. When I come into this, I do get like another Italian guy, very much powerful, and also a white guy, some political type of nature background, and so she was kind of like thrown into these circles, parties, and situations where she had to kind of sleep with certain people in the industry to get to where she was, at the peak of her career. But it wasn't something that she took pleasure in, and she felt like she had some kind of control over it, and she's saying that she felt like she could stop at any time. But the vices, the addiction became something very strong for her. But yes, I see that there were some men that threatened her to not say anything, or they would ruin her career. And ultimately, that's what happened. A lot of people say that she may have, lost a lot of support from peers in the modeling industry or other, famous designers that didn't want to work with her, or modeling companies because of her drug abuse. But I see that there's more to the picture there, and it would have been that her reputation would have been tarnished by one of these powerful, or several of these powerful elite men in at the moment, at the time that she was alive and that she was going through all of this. So they kind of ruin her reputation. It's kind of like what they want. After they use you, to a certain point and they no longer find you interesting, they move on. And that's kind of like the fast world sometimes in modeling. That's what I'm getting from her. That basically, there were some other girls that she's saying in the modeling, when she first, was being looked at or caught for, doing drugs and etc. She's saying there's other girls, other models that also were in the drug business or that did drugs, and did the same things as her, but they never got any attentions to them, and they were kind of more like protected. She is talking about discrimination because of her race, because I guess she has like an Italian background, so she wasn't like the standard cover girl that is white, like a white model. I mean, looking at her, you could tell that she is, white, but I mean, there's racism, and people in that time, still put women in certain boxes and categories and whatnot. And I feel like there was friends. She's saying that there was friends that wanted to get her help. These were other models, other females but she would refuse it. She would refuse the help. I get that she didn't show up to a lot of shoots. She would have broken engagements with people, friends in particular, like the invites to parties, stuff like that. She would have ignored all of that and kind of brushed them aside. She's saying there was a lot of backstabbing, two-faced people in the industry, especially a makeup artist that she was working with or worked with, and just people talking crap about her. She was a very open book, so I feel like she's saying that she would talk to some people about, her problems and things like that, and it was used against her later on because people in the industry are so vicious and cruel. Oddly enough, they say, people are speculating, how did she get the AIDS? What she's telling me is that she had sex with a man that had AIDS, and that's how she contracted the disease. It wasn't through her drug use, as some people have speculated, or as it's been stated before. That's not what I'm getting. I'm getting that it was one of these powerful men that would have had sex with her that had the virus himself. And so she contracted it. But what worsened it for her was the drug use. And also, she also had other issues. She had eating disorders. She didn't take care of her body. She didn't really eat a lot. I feel like she didn't sleep well. And I don't know if she had an abortion or a miscarriage at some point, because I'm seeing that she would have fallen pregnant, or there was this, the way it's coming through is like she would have either fallen pregnant and had an abortion, or she had a miscarriage. But I see that she would have fallen pregnant, and this was something that she didn't want to ruin her career. So she was faced with a lot of different battles. She's saying that, she's sorry to the people that did care for her, because there were some that actually did want to help her, and to her family. She's sorry, and she was just in a lot of pain. This world wasn't for her, she's saying. Her soul was just in constant pain. I get a lot of pain around her throat, around her body, the muscles aching. This would have been part of the disease of the AIDS that ravaged her body in many ways. And I get a lot of pain in my arms as I'm tuning into her, my head. It's a lot of pain, and also my neck, the back of my neck, and just a sense of real tired. Like she was really tired at the end, and wouldn't have been able to. There were some breathing complications, and I also see an enlarged heart. So I don't know if she also had like an enlarged heart, which would have weakened her heart. Her cardiovascular system would have been working overtime. And you would think that for someone that's so petite, or not petite, but very thin and, very tall, that this wouldn't have been the case. But she takes responsibility for her passing. She does say that, it was all based on her decisions. The things that she couldn't see, it was all work, but it was also constant battles with people, so that she could, get her fix. That's what she keeps saying, her fix to drugs. And there was a moment where she felt she fell for a guy, she's saying, and that she thought that she would actually marry this person and that her life would completely change. But she faced a lot of heartbreak and, again, betrayal, just guys playing mind games with her, because, they ultimately saw her as an object that they could buy. And for her at the moment, money was everything that she needed. But somehow, they ruined her reputation and word got out that she had AIDS. And so that kind of set a lot of people away from her. There are people that still think about her. That's what I'm getting. And they do mourn her. They mourn, not being the best person around her. These would be other models that are still alive, photographers, people that she would have worked with in the industry or encountered, fans. Also fans. She's saying that she's sorry to her fans because she did have some fans. And she's saying that she could have, gotten sober. She could have gotten cleaned up from all of this, but that wasn't her path. And she didn't have the strength to continue fighting. And so she went in a downward spiral. And that's what I keep seeing about her. She keeps showing me the color purple as well and a connection to Prince. So I'm not sure at this time, at the time, if she liked Prince or she listened to his music or, what was it with Prince. But she keeps showing me Prince for some reason, and also Paula Abdul, which is very odd, So maybe this is kind of some of the music that she would listen to, or she attended, some kind of event where celebrities that, are similar to Paula and Prince were at. But I keep seeing that. I also keep feeling like she had anger and rage by the time that she crossed over, not understanding why she was emotionally empty. She had so many dreams to follow, but again, the drug, for those of you that are listening today, heroin is one of the most addictive drugs out there, and the recovery rate is very rare for a lot of people that are hooked on it because it's so addictive, and it's almost as addictive as sugar, which is another, it's not really considered a drug by people, but I consider it a drug because of the damage that it can do to a body over time. And people in America and all countries that suffer from obesity, have looked towards that as kind of like, a coping mechanism, just like Gia did. But back to Gia, that's what I get from her. A battered soul here on earth trying to find her happiness. But, she is in peace. I do feel like, she will eventually reincarnate, but I don't feel like she has yet. And, her story and she's saying her story and her whole, the whole background behind all of this should be, lessons in the modeling industry. It serves as a way to kind of awaken models today. And, it's happening. What happened to her can easily happen to anyone, no matter if it was the 1980s, the 1990s, 2020. The time that we're living in is the same kind of patterns, and a lot of times now with technology it's even worse. And so she is saying that a lot of models should look towards not just seeing their career as an opportunity to make more money at any cost, but have definitely some restraint and some morals when it comes to their decision making, and people that are in power that try to coerce them or try to blackmail them in some kind of way know that there's always another option, and you don't have to lower your standards or accept any less than of how you need to be treated and should be treated by people, which is with respect. And that's all that she really ultimately wanted, and that's the part that she regrets, is not having the respect that a lot of other peers, her other models, friends that they have or had at the time. And that's something that she would have preferred to have that power there. But it's just sad. It's very sad. It's painful. But I think everybody listening to this reading will take something out of it, for them, for yourselves. Mainly, if you're in a job and you're being threatened that you'll lose your job if you don't do this or this or this, if it is sexual harassment, you can always report that to the Better Business Bureau, to OSHA. There's a lot of other places that you can report it to, as well as to filing, getting legal assistance, and getting a support of a lawyer to sue someone for that. It's against the law to people to be sexually harassed in a work environment, and I feel these are the things that she went through, that people just point the finger and automatically say, oh, well, she got AIDS because she was a prostitute and she did drugs, and that's not all of the story. That's not how she got it. She got it through, of course, sexual intercourse with someone that was infected, but she ultimately tried to do her best here on earth, and she's very misunderstood, and I feel like that's what she wanted to get across today in this psychic reading / mediumship reading. So yeah, that's the reading here for Gia Carangi, and I want to thank everyone here that is tuning in for allowing me to continue to do these videos. I have slowed down a little bit, just taking a little bit better care of myself, and also have been very busy due to readings, other projects, and things like that. So if you are interested in booking a private psychic reading, please visit my website at www.raymondguzman.net/shop. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Psychic Medium Ray. Blessings and love and light. Have an amazing day or night wherever you are in the world.